And right now at 6, Election Day rolling on in the Carolinas. WCNC Charlotte, of course, your headquarters for Decision 2022. We're watching those big races in North and South Carolina.
From Winston-Salem to Raleigh to Columbia and Charleston, of course, around the Charlotte area, our reporters are standing by. We'll check in with them in just a bit, but first, some voting housekeeping to get to. If you still need to cast your ballot, you've got a little while left. In South Carolina, they close at 7. In North Carolina, polls close at 7:30. We've learned 3 precincts in Robeson, Columbus, and Wilson counties will stay open until 8:30 tonight.
And in both states, if you are in line when those polls close, you can still vote. And we've told you this too. There are extra eyes on dozens of voting sites throughout Mecklenburg County and several other counties in the Carolinas today. The Department of Justice assigning poll monitors to keep tabs on precincts throughout the day.
Yeah, we start our coverage with Nate Morabito, who tracked down those poll monitors at Shamrock Gardens Elementary School. He joins us now live with that effort to maintain voter integrity. Nate?
Hey, good evening. Yeah, 3 lawyers with the U.S. Attorney's Office spent about an hour asking voters questions about their voting experience earlier this afternoon. One of several stops throughout the day here in the Charlotte area. Those attorneys are not allowed inside any precinct. They can only observe outside. While the publicity of this program seems to be new, the election director told us it's actually existed for the last decade or so. And the Department of Justice, basically these poll monitors, they keep tabs on every big election, making sure voters, they don't have any issues with accessibility, they don't run into any problems. And the voters we talk to say that's a welcome commitment these days.
I think that's very good. You want to make sure that your vote is counted, and that's very important.
I think that's a great idea. People definitely need to have their voting rights saved.
Poll monitors in Mecklenburg County hope to have visited 48 precincts by the end of today, and Department of Justice attorneys plan to visit election sites in 5 other counties in both North and South Carolina, most in North Carolina, on this election day. Reporting live in East Charlotte, Nate Morabito, WCNC Charlotte.
Nate, thank you. Now let's check in with what we're seeing at those polling sites, because, you know, we've had some reports of long lines over in Union County. One viewer telling us that they actually waited an hour and a half this morning.
WCNC Charlotte's Megan Bragg is live at the Waxhaw Volunteer Fire Department right now. Megan, you showed us the lines earlier. Are they still long?
Well, guys, I've been here since about 3:30 this afternoon, and it has been a steady line. It's a little shorter than it was in about the 5 o'clock hour, but we are still seeing a long line here. People I spoke with as they're coming out say they've been waiting in line for about an hour, but like I said, it's been pretty steady and smooth. No complaints so far. Here in Union County, 170,000 people did register to vote here in Union County, and one person I spoke with from Union County told us that they waited for an hour at 10 a.m. at one of the polling places in Mineral Springs. Earlier today, we went to Henby Bridge Elementary, which is another polling spot. At lunchtime, we saw a lot of people waiting in line. I spoke with several people on why they were there and voting, and here's what they had to say.
I know I could have early voted. This is the day to be here.
I always go on election day. Somehow it feels more official. I don't know. But I always go on election day. And man, what a gorgeous day to stand in line.
So 7,000 people are registered to vote right here at this polling place. Now, I do want to tell you guys something. It is getting pretty dark out here. So if you are around these polling areas and you are driving, just be careful, because people are walking around here trying to get to their cars and trying to get to their polling places. So just be aware of that. Reporting live in Union County, Megan Bragg, WCNC Charlotte.
A very important reminder for those pedestrians. Thank you for that, Megan. South Carolina voters also flocking to the polls today, and this was the first year Palmetto State voters were able to cast a ballot early without giving a reason why.
And while we certainly did see some folks doing that early voting, our team did see some lines stretching well into the parking lot at some polling locations in York County. So for more on that, we want to find our Lexi Wilson over at the Flint Hill Fire Department. How are the lines looking at this hour, Lexi?
Well, we are still seeing those long lines, so it's still pretty steady at the moment. People are getting off of work and coming down to vote. As you can see, some people are going in to cast their ballot at the moment, but we still have some people doing the curbside voting. That seems to be pretty popular for this area. And in the last hour, they've really been able to get a lot of people through. About 810 people have voted at this location, and this line does wrap around the building. But again, you're seeing some of those people drive in for that curbside voting. But all day we've been bouncing around York County and the different polling sites. This is some video from several different Rock Hill sites where there was a steady flow of voters. No really big lines there. Most of the polling locations we went to were similar. Everyone we spoke to has had their different reasons for voting, from inflation to local education. Now, polls here in South Carolina close at 7 p.m. Anyone in line at 7 p.m. will be allowed to vote, so there is still some time. If you haven't voted just yet, here's a word from some voters today.
Please get out and vote. Please. You have a say so. Read, know what's going on. Don't do hearsay.
If you don't vote, your vote will not be heard.
And as Megan had mentioned, it is getting dark, and just also bring your sweater as well. It is getting a little chilly. Again, you have until 7 p.m. here in South Carolina, so you got about an hour or so. You can still come out. Reporting live in Fort Mill for WCNC Charlotte, I'm Lexi Wilson.
Lexi, thank you. And so now that we've gotten a taste from all of the voting locations that we've got our crews at, we want to get to some of the races here. The big race that we're watching in North Carolina is that open U.S. Senate seat. Republican Ted Budd facing Democrat Sherry Beasley in this one.
Our team coverage continues at both campaign headquarters tonight. First, let's check in with our Brianna Harper. She is at the Beasley headquarters in Raleigh. Bree, I know this is just what you were seeing, probably a prelude to the party that's about to get underway there.
Yeah, this North Carolina Senate race has one that has been neck and neck for the most part, with Ted Budd just having a slight lead in over Sherry Beasley, according to early voting polls. And as you mentioned, the winner of this race will replace Republican Richard Burr, who held that seat for some time. But just to give you some context, it has been since 2008. That was the last time a North Carolina Democratic senator was representing North Carolina. So there's a lot at stake here, and some say that the results of this election could possibly indicate where North Carolina stands for the 2024 presidential election. So from the very beginning, Sherry Beasley has said she wants to make it a point to preserve voter integrity.
This is our country. And even after all of that violence, he refused to certify the election and called them just patriots standing up. And there was legislation proposed to secure and protect future elections, which he voted against. And even when pressed about whether or not he will accept the results of this race, he's reticent to say yes. We need someone who believes in democracy.
And so the results of the North Carolina Senate race, as well as Senate races all across the country, could play a part to determine which party takes control of the U.S. Senate. So Sherry Beasley's election party kicking off at 7 o'clock tonight. And of course, we'll be here giving you updates throughout the night as those election results roll in. But for now, that's the very latest from downtown Raleigh. Brianna Harper, WCNC, Charlotte.
Bree, thank you. Now we want to head over to Winston-Salem, where our Chloe Leshner is standing by at the campaign headquarters for Republican Ted Budd. Chloe, walk us through what you're seeing there.
Hey, Fred. Well, it's been pretty quiet here, but we did just get an update a few minutes ago from Budd's campaign. They kind of gave us a run of the show tonight, and we now know that Senator Thom Tillis will be introducing Congressman Budd at one point tonight. They haven't given us any timeline, but we do know that this is going to be a close race, so we are expecting that it could be a long night. But Budd did make one final swing around the state today, stopping at a polling place in Mooresville to talk with voters. He said that his campaign is not taking any votes for granted. Polling the entire campaign has had the two candidates neck and neck, but more recently, Budd has inched out just ahead. So while other Senate races across the country might not be called tonight, we could know the results of this race tonight. North Carolina law allows county election officials to run early and accepted absentee ballots through a tabulator before Election Day. They're not adding up any results until polls close, but those will be the first results reported. Of the 2 million or so people who voted early in North Carolina, 38% were registered Democrats, 31% Republicans, and 30% unaffiliated. Another thing to keep in mind, absentee ballots postmarked by today can be counted up to 3 days after Election Day. And because Veterans Day falls on Friday this year, the deadline is Monday the 14th. So in a very, very close race, those few votes could matter. Bud, though, is confident that he is what voters are looking for in a senator.
They're really fed up with what's happened over the last 2 years, what Joe Biden's done to our country. We really believe that Sherry Beasley would be a complete rubber stamp, and she's not denied that. She's in lockstep with Joe Biden. That's hurt our country, and we realize what happens under an America First agenda is you have 1.4% inflation, not 8.7% inflation, and it led to the lowest unemployment in recorded history for people of color, for women, for Hispanics. We got to get back to that, and we got to get back to America being strong.
So even if Bud gets to make a victory speech here tonight, those results will not be official until the state certifies them. That happens during the canvass period, which is 10 days after the election, and that is standard for every election. Live in Winston-Salem, Chloe Leschner, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, the Bud campaign preparing potentially for a long night.
As are we.
All right. Thank you, Chloe. Still to come at 6, our election coverage continues. We've got folks covering more of the big races in the Carolinas. We'll check in with Indira, Julia, and Jane after the break.
Yes, and I alluded to, we are hunkering down for a long evening. Our team is going to be with you all night long following these races, even when we're off the air here. And that's because we're going to be streaming on our website, in our mobile app, on WCNC Plus with even more election coverage. We'll have live reports, we'll have analysis as those results come in. By the way, WCNC Plus, you can get that on Fire TV and Roku. And this stream is going to all lead up to our 1-hour, 11 p.m. newscast. We hope to see you for all of this coverage. We will be right back.